Welcome to Basic and Bookish Podcast, the perfect place to crash out over our favorite books and connect with readers just like you. I'm Kinsey.
And I'm Karly. Today is all about our thoughts on the adaptation of the off-campus series, and since I have been eagerly awaiting Kinsey to finish the show, I am dying to jump into today's episode. But before we do, this is your official spoiler alert for both the off-campus show as well as the book series by Elle Kennedy, as the show incorporates several storylines from the books within the series. I believe most of those spoilers are for The Deal and The Score, which are books 1 and 3 in the series. But since neither of us has read the entire series, it is very possible there are spoilers for other books as well.
Due to the nature of these books and the show, this podcast is rated R in content and language. Please note that we are aware that this show handles an SA storyline. We will hold that portion of the discussion until the end, and we will provide a trigger warning before discussing it, as well as have timestamps in the show notes for you available to jump ahead. If you'd like to skip the ads and have access to full video formats, it's available now on Patreon. That link can also be found in our show notes.
Now prepare to join the chaos. Honestly, we blame the ADHD. Okay, Kinsey, as a millennial girly, I was absolutely obsessed with the show for several reasons, but as our resident Gen Zer, possibly Zillennial?
I'm a Zillennial.
All right. Overall, did you enjoy Off Campus? Keep in mind, we will be getting into specifics in a moment.
I did. I enjoyed Off Campus. I do think it potentially was a little bit overhyped for me going into it. A lot of people were saying, this is the best book adaptation I've seen. And some people were claiming it was better than Heated Rivalry. And on that, I do firmly disagree. I think that Heated Rivalry is my jam. And that is one of the best TV show book adaptations I've seen. But I did really enjoy Off Campus, and it was killing me because I started the show with my husband, and then he ended up having a really busy work week, and we also had friends that were visiting, and so we had to pause the show after the first episode, and I kept asking him, hey, like, do you want to watch the show with me now? Like, can we watch? And he's like, I'm busy. And I'm like, sir, like, I want to keep going. And so finally I had to tell him, like, look, I'm just going to watch this without you. I'm willing to rewatch it with you, but I had to finish it. And when I finally had started the show, like past episode 1, because I had gotten to a point where I wasn't going to watch with my husband anymore, I accidentally stayed up until 2 in the morning. And my sleep schedule is still messed up because I think I had watched, up until episode 5. Like just in like one sitting. And then the next day I finished the show. And unlike the book series, and I'm going to still like hold my opinion on book versus movie, but I'm actually like super eager for season 2. Whereas like with the books, I was like, oh, I don't know if the series is for me. I'm not really 100% certain if I'm going to continue reading it. But like for the show, I'm like, give me season 2 yesterday.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I totally get that. I also just think that all the people comparing it to Heated Rivalry is a little unfair because I think they're very different shows in their own right.
Yeah.
I think Off Campus, a lot of it is more of like a coming into your sexuality story of like young people in college. And Heated Rivalry, they are young, but they are professionals.
Yeah.
And I haven't enjoyed the people who are like, oh, Off Campus is just Heated Rivalry, but straight. And I'm like, no,
not at all.
Because the fact that it is a male-male relationship is integral to the plot of Heated Rivalry and the whole reason why they feel like they can't be together. Like, you can't just make that story straight. That drove me crazy.
Those people set me up for failure. Also, the characters in Off Campus do not have fully developed frontal lobes yet. Okay. So like clear distinction between the two shows.
I just think also it's just a very different vibe. Like this is a college campus. They're doing very college-y things.
I know.
And Heated Rivalry is like our careers are on the line. Like there's a seriousness to Heated Rivalry that isn't necessarily in Off Campus. Obviously, Off Campus also has some serious storylines within it. But the overall vibe of the show is just totally different than Heated Rivalry. So I'm like, let's not compare the two. These are apples and oranges, people. They're both book adaptations.
About hockey,
I guess,
and
sort
romance.
of. And romance.
And that's it.
Yeah. But
similarities end there.
that similarities very much end there. And the shows were shot very differently, totally different vibes. And I think they both picked the right vibe.
No, they totally did.
But I just want to quickly discuss episode 1 regarding the specific thing I see people saying online, and I'm wondering if you agree with it. There's a lot of people saying that you just have to get through episode 1 and the show gets a lot better. Did you also feel that way, that episode 1 was a little off and then episodes after that were better?
Honestly, I don't think so. Like, I don't think that I had to push my way through. I didn't think the first episode was bad per se, but I personally was a little bothered by a lot of the changes they had made from the book. Like, I was like, she's not a clarinet player and she's not into a musician. She's into a football player. And it's been a while since I read the books, but I think they even had different names. But so like there were like some things where like I was a little nitpicky on the details, but I wasn't of the opinion I have to just get through it. Like, I was looking forward to continuing. I was just like set back because I was waiting for my husband to watch the show. What did people not like about the first episode?
You know, I had heard that and I was like, okay. And I went in with that. I feel like oftentimes people can be overly critical with certain things. And I was like, oh, okay, like whatever. I'm going to watch it. I'm not too worried about it. And then I watched episode 1 and I was like, I get some of these. There was a few moments that felt a little cringy to me in episode 1 that just felt like, I don't know, like Allie is immediately like taking her shirt off in the middle of the apartment and like putting her robe on and is walking around topless. And there's that sex scene with Garrett and Kendall, I think is her name. Yeah. That could have just as easily been a fade to black and wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't have missed anything. Like, I don't think that really added anything to the storyline.
I think it was just there to be like, look, we can show titties. Yeah. Like, that's really all it brought for the viewers.
But that's what it felt like to me. I was like, I don't understand the point of this. And then there was the montage scene of them working out in a location that we never see them working out again in the whole show, that kind of just seemed like it was just there
for
to
the
watch
gays.
Men in no shirts sweating. Which, like, don't get me wrong, I get it. But it was a decently long montage of it. And there's really no explanation as to why the whole rest of the time they're in a gym.
No, that's so true.
Ice. So I was just like, what is happening here? So
I guess I'm not as overly critical for shows because I go into it like, oh, it's just a college show.
Yeah,
like.
But I guess it just, I hate saying this because I hate it when people say it about people when they're like, you're trying too hard. But it felt like the first episode was like really being like, we're really in college, people, like really just pushing that college vibe to a degree that I was like, this doesn't feel quite right.
Well, what got me was that the entire time they were just like always hanging out at the same bar that she worked at. I'm like, you guys have nowhere else to go? Nowhere else to go. That's just like everyone goes there for the college. Okay.
Yeah, Malone's.
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
I mean, I do think it's in the book. So I think it's nice that they kept it in the show.
Yeah, okay.
But I feel like, too, that that's kind of like a common product in these like interconnected rom-com-y standalones. Because there's always like that central place that brings people together.
Yeah.
So we've already touched on this a little bit before, but there are some changes that they made from the book to the show. I'm curious what your thoughts are on them because I personally enjoyed a lot of the changes. So I'm curious what you're going to think. But one of the biggest changes was the breakup scene where it went from Wellesley initiating it to Garrett initiating. There were several reasons for this, including the fact that, like, because of how college sports works now, they can make their own money. So he wasn't dependent on his dad for money. That wouldn't make sense in today's climate. So his dad wouldn't have been able to hold that over them.
Yeah.
And they wrote in the storyline where Garrett is the one that breaks up with her. And I actually think this made a lot more sense.
Yeah, this change did not bother me, but it was more so the reason why they broke up, because the reason in the book was different from the show. Like, this time it was because of the assault on the ice that happened. And I'll actually say that change I did not like.
Okay.
I didn't like it, and how they banned him from the NCAA because like, oh, well, you were with the Bruins. I'm like, none of this happened. But also to be very clear, I thought I only had to read the deal. So I did not read any of the other books. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, because I was like, I thought that Allie stayed with this guy. I thought they were endgame. And then come to find out that they're not. So I did like that relationship that was brewing, but I can't really comment on how it's supposed to be. But I didn't like how the assault on the ice ended up happening. Like, I kind of preferred the book version more than this one. And also just the fact that he was planning on cutting off his dad, and he had this trust, and how his dad was like, you have to break up with her or get the money. And he's like, and his dad had no clue that this trust was involved. And I kind of wish that we got a little bit more of that, where he's having to struggle more financially. Instead, we just see like his friends struggling financially. And I think that would have been kind of a nice little storyline to have added in.
I see what you're saying about like Garrett having to experience like the other side of that, which would have been interesting for his character arc. But I do really like, though, how much the show wrote in and leaned into Garrett's character arc of him being so afraid of turning out like his dad and crossing that line and realizing how uncomfortable he is on the other side of that line, and coming to the realization that he needs to talk about this. Like, he needs to talk about it with his friends. He needs to have support in this. He needs to recognize who he is, and that he doesn't have to be his dad, because he just feels like it's this inevitable thing. And I actually really liked the idea that they leaned into more of that storyline for part of his character arc, because I feel like the books kind of brushed over that to a certain extent. And I think the show actually really leaned into that in a way that felt way more satisfying for Garrett's character arc in the series. But that being said, I think the part of the fight is like, you are supposed to feel conflicted about it. Like, it's not what Wellesley wants. Yeah. It's clearly against the rules for a reason. That was really dangerous. But also kind of.
He kind of deserved it.
But, I mean, more than kind of, but.
He definitely did, yeah.
He definitely did. But that being said, how did you feel about the switch to that particular character being a hockey player? Because in the books, her assailant was not a hockey player. And I think that that was a really interesting twist they added in that I did not see coming.
Yeah. It wasn't so much like a twist for me, but that was like a minor detail where I was like, that's fine. Like, it was less in my face than the whole Justin switcheroo with like the football player. Like, I feel like that was more different, and like her whole plot line of her music major and the showcase, like that bothered me more than the fact that her assaulter was a hockey player.
Yeah.
Like, for that, I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Well, see, because I think in the books, like, she has a lot of, like, she shows some prejudice against a lot of the jocks, but then she has a crush on a football player, and that didn't ever make sense to me, and it actually made a lot more sense to me that the person she would have a crush on would also be a musician.
Yeah.
So that made a lot more sense to me. I actually really enjoyed that change. I was just confused. Yeah. I just thought it made so much more sense for her character, and then when they wrote in that her assailant from the past was a jock and a hockey player, I was like, oh, okay, like that makes more sense for her character, because I kind of thought that that's what they were writing in the book, and then when it wasn't that, I was surprised. I was like, oh, okay, and I was kind of surprised by it. So with the show, it actually made more sense to me, because that's what I was expecting in the book, and then it wasn't that, and I was like, oh, okay. Then why doesn't she not like Jock so much, except for this one football player who she's like deigned redeemable?
Just a silly prejudice.
Yeah. So in the show, it made so much more sense to me. I was like, this is working so much better for my brain, because this wasn't working for me in the book as I was actively reading it.
That's a good point. What about the change to the hands-off rule? Because for me, I thought it was actually pretty funny how it was just a miscommunication.
Yeah. I was glad that they changed it, because I don't think that works in today's climate. I'm
God,
so
no.
glad that they acknowledge it, though, that Wellesley's
"Our
like, I
bad."
kind of wanted him to, but also that's so misogynistic and terrible.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get that, girl. Like, I get wanting to know that he cares, but also you can't do that. That's not okay.
Yeah. No, for real, for real.
And that conversation her and Allie have where they acknowledge the conflict of that like, yeah, we like both want this and don't want this. Like,
Yeah. In the fake world, it's nice to imagine, but in real life, which they're pretending to be, they're like, that's actually kind of toxic.
no, 100%. And so, and then when she walks in and it's just penises.
Oh my God. I was shocked by that. I haven't seen Full Frontal since A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is an HBO show, which you kind of expect. And I was like, oh my God. And there were so many penises.
I know.
We didn't even get that from Heated Rivalry, which mini rant for people who are like, I can't watch Heated Rivalry because it's too spicy. This show was spicier. And I don't hear people really complaining about how much spice was in this show. So
yeah. So
people's
perhaps that's something you should investigate about yourself if you're complaining about one and not the other.
Yeah, no, but like speaking of spice, I actually respected that like Wellesley never showed her breasts. They always had her in a bra and like, because not everything has to be out. And I'm not a prude by any means, but I was just like, we don't have to see all of this to have it be a good book adaptation. So I was like, hell yeah. They kept her clothes.
Well, you know what's funny about that, and to a certain extent I agree, is that the actress Isla Fisher talks about how that she would only do nudity for comedy because nudity doesn't make anything like sexier. You can like make things just like sexy without nudity. Yeah. But that you can make comedy funnier with nudity, which hence the penises.
Exactly. No, that's exactly it though. That's exactly it. Yeah. Because it's like, guys, we know what they're doing. Yeah. You just don't need to see nipple. But I was like, oh my God. And they just kept showing penises. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I laughed so hard in that scene. I've watched the show multiple times at this point. I laugh every time. And when I watched it with my husband on my most recent watch, and he laughed so hard. It was hysterical.
Well, what did she think would happen? I mean, like the literal first time that she had seen Garrett, she walked in on him in the shower, which, by the way, that was like a random job that she had like at the first episode and then didn't again. Like she had like one other time just to get into the music box. Yeah. But I'm like, she just stopped working in the locker room, I guess. I don't know. But
that was so. Side note on that scene, I want to mention one thing about that scene. Her tripping over the laundry basket was not written in the script. That happened on actual accident. And it was so funny. They were like, no, we want you to do that again.
Oh my gosh. That is so funny. I had no idea.
Yeah. And she said that she was horribly embarrassed and that she was like, you guys are just saying that because like I'm so embarrassed. So like, no, this is really, really, really good. And it was perfect. It made the scene funnier when she tripped over the laundry basket.
It was so good.
It was good. I love Dean specifically in the locker room scene though, when he's like,
I just love Dean in general.
It's a locker room. And then he like points down at his penis. I was cracking up.
I like Dean a lot. I almost think I might like Dean more than Garrett. But one thing that I really liked with Garrett was when they were going to have sex for the first time. And she's like, we're about to have sex. Like, you can watch me change. And he's like, well, no, like, I'm going to look when you're ready for me. To look. Like, I'll wait until you tell me to. And I was like, wow, the standards are so low. Like, we just need consent, king. But I was like, respect. Because it is silly. Like, when you think like, but I'm about to see you naked. He's like, no, but like, I'll look when you're ready. And I was like, wow, I love that for you, Garrett. But
that scene is perfect. I do love that. Yeah. It's like, I love now that TV is really leaning into showing like healthy consent and that healthy consent is also really sexy.
It is sexy. Like I was like, period. But other than that, I think I might crush on Dean a little bit more than Garrett. Even though he's such a playboy, but he's so down bad for Allie.
I know.
And oh my God, like I just knew when they first introduced that guy at the bar, I was like, oh God, like he's going to end up being his rival. And then when they start talking about this douchebag, that's this hockey player they're bringing in, which look, I didn't play sports in college, but I'm pretty sure you can't just add players randomly in the middle of the semester and like do a will call like, hey, will you join our team? I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, but
Listen, I think we need like a sports expert to come on and explain some of the things from the show because there's some things I still don't understand. Like, I still don't understand why him posting getting to meet the Bruins and getting to like shoot the puck into that like got him banned and like got all of their games like made them lose.
I feel like that was such an exaggeration. Like, there's no, and he was like, but it didn't happen with practice. They're like, well, but there's no way to know for sure. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can call up the Bruins, motherfucker.
Like, you can't just ask somebody that was like in charge.
Like, well, someone might think and have the assumption that you're like,
I need somebody to explain to me if that would really happen because I don't think it would.
Look, if they're going to go through the trouble of investigating his social media to find a reason to get upset with him, then I feel like they're going to go a step further to make sure that the tea they are bringing to the table is actually hot.
Yeah.
You know, like they're going to get all the receipts. Like I'm pretty sure that if there were something like that happening that you could file an appeal.
Yeah, I'm guessing next season, hopefully they're going to explain some of this to us and that there is going to be some sort of appeal process because it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, so
it's just out the whole season. Fuck that, brother.
Well, yeah, because he's like wondering if he even still wants to play. I'm like, can you play? Haven't you been kicked off? Essentially, I was a little confused.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, why are you still in college if you're already being drafted by the Bruins? Just go play for the Bruins because now you can't even play college hockey. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Anyways, we'll move on from our little rant. I do want to talk about one other change to this. So one is obviously they've weaved in the Allie and Dean storyline.
Wasn't prepared for that.
Which was honestly though such a great addition to the show.
I enjoyed it. Look, when she first called after Drunk Shakespeare, I was like, oh no, she's going back to her boyfriend. When it was revealed that it was Dean, girl, I was shook.
Yeah.
I was
like
so
screaming.
Shook.
I was so excited.
Like, no way. And then it was like showing like them in the bathtub. And I was like, wait, go back. I had to like rewind. I'm like, what is happening?
So I want to really quickly talk about this because you have not read the score.
No,
Are you okay with some spoilers from the score?
That's fine. I don't care.
So
I've seen it on screen.
I want to talk. Well, but there's going to be some more spoilers for the score. So is that okay? Okay.
That's fine. I don't care.
So I read part of it. I haven't read the whole thing. Spotify stole my audiobook back. They're like, this is no longer available. I'm like, excuse me. But that being said, how Allie and Dean got together is so much better in the show than it is in the book, in my opinion, because I think there's a pretty serious consent issue in the book. And that's because Allie has like literally just broken up with her boyfriend like the day before. And Garrett and Wellesley are out of town and Garrett offers up his place. He's like, if you want to get away so that your ex-boyfriend Sean can't come back and try to convince you to take him back, you can go stay at my place because we're out of town. And then she gets there and Dean's there. And at some point during this, Wellesley realizes like Dean is there and she texts Dean and she's like, Allie is in a really vulnerable emotional place. She just broke up with Sean. Do not take advantage of her. And then he convinces her to like play a drinking game or some sort of drinking thing while they're watching a movie, gets her super drunk, and then they have sex.
I don't fuck with that.
I read it and I was so upset. I was like, I don't like this and I like the show so much better for this.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
I think that's gross too.
That's a little gross. Like, because he knew that she was vulnerable and then intentionally got her drunk. Yeah. But at least in the show, she was drunk and then she was like, hey, bye. So like they didn't do anything at that moment. And in front of him, she changed his number to do not call.
I think this is so much better in the show. Like she's like making active choices. There's more time after Sean. Like I just think that the book really made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And in the morning, she was like blaming herself for it and all of these things.
Oh,
and I was just
so
like,
sad.
Girl, I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
No.
Anyways, I was really uncomfortable with it. We've already kind of started getting into some of the scenes and our favorite moments.
I haven't even looked at the full list.
No, it's totally fine. But I figured we could talk about some of them now. I am not sure if you are aware of the viral sensation that became Allie's JLo dress.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Okay.
I need to know exactly how the costuming department applied her tape, because I was expecting her breasts to pop out. And
Yeah.
she was so sensual with the way that she was moving her body. I'm like,
Yep.
damn, girl, get it.
Get it.
And I was like, where did her boyfriend go?
I know.
Missing that whole scene. I thought it was
know.
cute. She's like, oh, this is me. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
Allie, you're so cute.
Yeah. Okay. Did you see what happened on Spotify with it?
No.
Okay. So this scene became so viral that it got back to JLo. It pushed that song that was playing. I think it's Let's Party is the name of the song. I could be wrong.
I know.
Don't come after me,
Dance the
people.
night away, da, da,
That one, yes.
Yeah.
So it pushed that one into like the next record breaking thing where it like went so many times platinum or whatever. I don't really
Whoa.
understand
Okay.
how records work, but
That's
you know how
fine.
they'll say it went like 5 times platinum or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it pushed it to the next number. That's how viral the song went.
crazy.
So she starts getting asked about this because JLo is touring like for the movie, that rom-com movie she had coming out with Brett Goldstein. Is that his name?
Oh my God, I love
plays
Brett Goldstein.
Rick
Yes.
plays Rick Kent.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, okay.
Brett Goldstein. That's Brett Goldstein.
Okay.
I fucking love him.
Yeah.
I think I avoided online spoilers,
Yes.
but I did see a clip, and it wasn't until after I saw the show
Mm-hmm.
where I was like, oh wait, that's the actress, because it was like JLo. So I saw a video of her meeting
Yes.
JLo.
So she actually got to go meet JLo.
That's
but
awesome.
In addition to that, on Spotify, you know how Spotify will show you like little previews of the music videos for the songs you're listening to? It'll show you like a 10-second clip on loop. They changed JLo's music video clip on her song to Allie dancing
No
in the show.
way.
It's
I'm
no
pulling up
longer
my-
on there.
Oh no,
They've
I'm like
taken it
pulling
down
up
since.
Spotify right now.
Girl, it's on TikTok. You can go see it on TikTok. But they literally changed it for like an entire week or 2 weeks. It was Allie dancing to the song on Spotify. And I was like, can you imagine? Like, you're not even a singer. You weren't in the music video. At this point, she hadn't even met JLo yet. And they're like, you're the face of this song now.
No, that's actually insane. But
Yeah.
I can understand, like, that was a pretty hot scene and it was really cool. And let me say, while we're on the top, because it was a costume party, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also thought that Garrett was a sad vampire, and it didn't make sense until I saw the bunny costume. I was like, oh, it's a magician.
Yeah.
Because a character,
I was so confused.
I think it
I
was
was so
Jules.
confused.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm glad you're here. I thought that he was just a sad vampire. And I'm like, I literally thought he was a vampire.
Yeah.
So
I did too.
yeah.
Even after they said it, I was like, what is he? It took me
You know, it was
forever
a
to
bunny.
figure it out.
It was a magician pulling the bunny out of the hat. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I got that.
It took me like hours afterwards of like not thinking about it for it
Yeah.
to suddenly occur to me. Mm-hmm. You know? Okay, so really quickly, this is a pretty big spoiler for the score. So if you don't want to hear it, you can take your headphones off and I can say it to the team.
Okay.
But
I'll take off my headphones.
Okay.
Who's the score about?
The score is Allie and Dean's story.
Okay.
Which
I'll
is
take
next
off-
season.
I'll take it off.
There will be a timestamp if you want to skip ahead and you don't want to hear this major spoiler for the score. Okay, everybody listening to this. The fact that they made Beau's costume, Goose from Top Gun, is diabolical. Absolutely diabolical, because he passes away in that book. I can't believe that they did that. I don't know who in the costume department thought of that, but that is diabolical. I'm about to wave Kinsey back in, but this was unbelievable. I cannot believe that they made his costume Goose and Beau dies in the score. Unbelievable. Okay.
I'm glad you got to get that off of your chest.
I had to like talk about it. I was like dying. All right. What do you want to talk about next?
I want to talk about Tucker's Thanksgiving. Here's my Shayla, and people were too mean to his Thanksgiving plans. That's all I cared about. I was just like, his turkey.
I know. And then you still forgot to pat it dry.
No, okay, look, there's nothing worse than planning something and caring a lot. And look, Thanksgiving is not a cheap meal to prepare.
Yeah.
And that fridge was stocked. And then to have all of his friends abandon him and leave him and then not help. But I'm glad that they did end up coming back in the end to
Yeah.
help, but like inviting all these people last minute who weren't supposed to be there and adding all of this stress to him, I didn't feel like it was very courteous. And I don't know if that's something that happened in another book or not, but I did not vibe with that. And I just want Tucker to be happy. And I felt like he was a sad boy a lot of the time. I feel like people just kind of take him for granted. And I don't fuck with that.
I totally agree. I really like Tucker. He seems very sweet.
He seems such a sweetie pie.
The whole like fruit switching out, I was laughing the whole series.
That was
every
funny.
time. Every
but
time
stealing
you'd see
the
it with
marshmallows,
yeah,
that wasn't very nice.
that wasn't very nice. But I will say, I do think that that was a scene where Logan and Tucker both really got to shine, because you got to see like Logan really like leaning in and being a really good teammate and really trying to help him as much as he could with Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
And you saw how much it meant to Tucker to like have this sense of family and camaraderie on the holidays and like to have these traditions, and it meant so much to him. And I think you really got to see both their characters shine in that moment. So I did really like that a lot.
Yeah. And I don't know if Logan, I'm assuming, probably does have his own book, but
he does.
I was like, his mom being in rehab, like all of that. Like, I was like, I don't remember any of this in the book.
It's not in that book, and his book has a totally different storyline, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
I was like, what is going on here? Because I remember him being slightly jealous of Wellesley and Garrett because he had a crush on her, but I didn't remember him being so jealous of just Garrett in general. And I felt like he was more understanding when it came to his dad, and I didn't really vibe with the way that Logan went behind Garrett's back to involve his father. But yeah, the Thanksgiving scene, I just felt bad for Tucker. I was like, Tucker, invite me, and next time I will show up and I will bring a side dish.
That's so sweet. I do think like that scene with Logan and Garrett, where he goes behind his back and gets the jersey and the tickets and things like that from the dad, I do think it's important. Like it really emphasized that both Logan and Garrett keep making assumptions about each other and just other people's circumstances in general, that the other one doesn't realize that they have these like preconceived notions. And so, like, Logan isn't understanding, like, there might be a bigger reason than someone just being, like, not a great parent, that, like, they don't want to reach out to them. Like, like he's not really getting that. And, you know, Garrett isn't really always cognizant of the fact that other people don't come from the same means that he did.
Yeah.
And so I think that scene was interesting, because I do think, like, it kind of put those things in their faces a little bit, and it wasn't comfortable, and they were fighting in that moment, and I totally get that. But I think it did help lead to, like, the growth at the end, where, like, Garrett is, like, reaching out to him and wanting to talk to him. And so I didn't like that he did that, but I did think it was good for them to have that moment where they're like, oh, we're both making assumptions about each other, and, like, we might be wrong.
I agree with everything that you said. And changing the subject slightly, if we're making assumptions of people's financial situations, what the fuck does Dean's family do for a living? Because that guy's got a penthouse in New York City, and then his family's over at St. Bart's, or like one of those. I was like, brother, what?
My understanding is that his family is also very rich in The Score. I haven't finished The Score. Again, like I said, that book got snatched away from me by Spotify.
Yeah, no, like that's like millionaire status.
No, they're
like,
very, very rich.
That house in New York City is millions of dollars. Like, God. You have a multi-story penthouse?
Yeah. Listen, couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me. I enjoy having a yard and a large home in a place that isn't New York City. But
honestly, that storyline with Dean, though, I think Dean and Ellie's storyline next season is going to be really interesting. But I think his dad in the book might be in sort of like investment banking, or like investing of something.
Okay. That makes sense.
If I remember correctly.
That makes sense then.
Did you want to talk about Drunk Shakespeare?
Yeah. I don't know if that was in the other books, but I really, really enjoyed it. If it wasn't in the books, then I think this was a really nice addition. There was a part where I thought that they would switch who the characters would be with in Drunk Shakespeare, because she was sitting with Justin. And I think it's crazy that they were assuming that she and Justin were a couple already, even though the whole population of their school believed at that time that Wellesley was with Garrett. So I thought that they were going to switch it and then they'd be like, oh my God, I actually love you. So like the whole time I was kind of waiting for the switcheroo to happen and it didn't. But then we got her being jealous, which was also fine.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really fun. And as I was sitting there, I was like, wait, is this like actually a thing? Because I feel like I would enjoy going to one of these events. I feel like that would be really fun.
So apparently they really do exist. They're a real thing that happen on campuses. They have these like drunk Shakespeare or drunk other like theater events. And I was like,
non-cool elder non-college students allowed? Because I would attend.
I would go too, but I'd be like, I'm just gonna have to have like a cold glass of like white wine or something like that to drink on those because I'm not doing shots. I'm just too old for that.
God, oh my God, I should have counted how many shots they took. You like,
oh my gosh, that moment where Allie calls line and he's like, it's not even your line. She's like, sue me, I'm thirsty.
No, that was so fun. I really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was a good time.
She's so beautiful in that scene. That costume, her hair. I'm like, you look like a fairy. You're so pretty.
No, literally. And it's Ren Fair season in Colorado right now. And so I was just like eyeing her outfit. I'm like, okay, that's like good inspo for the fair.
You know someone's going to do it at a Ren Fair at least next year. They might not have time to pull it off this year, but for sure next year we're going to see some alleys at Ren Fair.
Never underestimate cosplayers. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
You will be surprised. I'm sure that she's going to pop up already.
My understanding is that Drunk Shakespeare is not in the books. That is something that they came up with, and that was just an addition scene that they did. And the cast has actually said that was one of their favorite scenes to shoot. And I think it really came through because it was so great. It was so fun. Great. Everything about that scene was funny and fun and interesting. I loved it. And I really felt like you could feel the like, not chaos isn't quite the right word, but the like energy of the room, like they captured it so well. Yeah,
no, they did such a great job.
All right, you mentioned this earlier briefly, but the Dean and Allie bathtub scene.
That was.
I laughed so hard.
That was a good scene.
I laughed so hard.
He's just holding her pink toy.
I know, and it's like actively vibrating.
He's like, what?
And I guess she really did have to like duck down in the scene and like get into the tub. And she's talked about making that scene. And she's like, Steven's huge. And they tried to find the biggest tub they could find to do that scene. And she's and he's having to hold me down under the bubbles because I just kept popping up. And I guess, you have to be really close with your co-star, I guess.
Yeah, like, was he, like, pinching her to tell her to come back up for air? Like,
I guess, she held it for, like, 10 seconds, and then she would pop back up or something like that. She's like, yeah, I would hold it for 10 Mississippis, and then I'd pop back up. But he'd have to, like, put, like, a hand or a leg over her to help keep her from, like, just naturally... Because, you kind of just naturally pop back up. There's not that much water.
No.
And I just was like, that's so funny. But the number of millennial references they shoved into the show was amazing. And I think that's the reason why millennial girls are so obsessed with this show, because that is so close to a scene from Friends. It is. And there was a second reference to Friends. And I can't think of the line right now, but it was like near the end. And it's so similar to Friends. And I was like, I love that we got these like serious Friends references and 10 Things I Hate About You references and Legally Blonde references. Like the references were so, so great. They were like food for my soul. I'm like, I needed the show at the moment I got it. Like I needed a breath of fresh air. And it was just so funny. I laughed so much during that show.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. Like I loved Heated Rivalry, but I did not laugh as much during Heated Rivalry. I was more crying during Heated Rivalry.
I was crying more too. I definitely laughed a lot, I feel like, but I don't know. They're just so different. Yeah.
They're so different. I just think that like Heated Rivalry is the show I watch when I want to cry, and Off Campus is going to be the show I watch when I want to laugh.
I know.
I want to talk about this last scene before we move on, and that's the conversation Allie and Wellesley have where Wellesley is trying to tell her that she was actually essayed in high school and it wasn't her friend. And Allie's like, I knew the whole time. And you're like, you're not just that girl, you're every girl. And I cried during that scene.
That was so sweet. She's such a good friend, because the big thing is Wellesley's like, you can't treat me differently. And she's like, honey, I knew. Again, it's like, even as a reader and a watcher, like, that excuse, oh, it happened to my friend, like everyone knows, like it happens to you, or at least that's an assumption that I made. So I thought she handled it really well, and I'm like, wow, Allie, you're a great friend. It was just so sweet. And then to have Wellesley incorporate that into her song, that was very sweet.
Yeah.
I was surprised they didn't have her win. I thought she would win, but it was very good. I was like, she didn't even rehearse. She didn't go through rehearsal. How do they know the lights and the equipment?
She didn't even rehearse, and she still got second place. That's how good she is.
That's how good she is.
But yeah, I loved that scene. I cried. And then on a rewatch, knowing that scene has happened, knowing that Allie has known the whole time, you watch episode 6 totally differently. Because in episode 6, when she's in bed with Dean and they all call to FaceTime him to say Happy Thanksgiving, and she's like, gets out of the screen so she doesn't want them to see that she's there. The second she hears Wellesley's voice, she's like, oh my God. And that's when she starts telling them, like, no, we can't do this. We can't be together. I can't ruin this for her. Nothing that happens between us can ruin this for her, because she deserves this. She deserves to be happy. And it's because the whole time she knew that that was her first real big relationship since she was assaulted. It was the first time that she had fallen in love. It was like all of that for her. And she knew, and that's why she freaked out in that moment. And when you rewatch it knowing that, that scene means so much more.
I'm like, girl, you can date your friend's boyfriend's friend without ruining their relationship. Like, friends can date friends.
Yeah, but I think when you're in college and you see all the messy drama, and then all of a sudden you can't be in the same room as a person and all of that, and she's just like worried about messing it up, that they're like any of the drama would ruin it.
We're in the same classes as me, same major, like it happens.
Yeah, I think though that kind of stuff can just get really messy. Like, I understand why she was really worried about it, because she's like, what if, because she can't control how Dean reacts, right? What Dean doesn't know all this, so what if Dean's
so
like,
down bad for her though.
Yeah, but I don't know how much she's buying it at that point. Yeah, I think there's a part of her that still feels like this is all a little bit of an act.
Yeah, but that last scene, the closing scene, I ate it up. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
So good.
10 out of 10. Now, what was your favorite episode overall?
I'm going to be very interested if they're the same for us. For me, and it's close because I do really like a few episodes quite a lot. But for me, my favorite episode is episode 6. And that's where we get the Allie and Dean storyline, where you find all about what's happening to Allie and Dean, and all of that's been going on. I love that storyline so much. I'm almost positive that it's also the episode where Wellesley and Garrett say I love you to each other for the first time. It's really, really, really sweet. What's your favorite episode?
I think mine is also the Allie and Dean backstory episode. It was just so juicy. So I really enjoyed that. And then even just the last episode, I enjoyed it as well because of that ending.
Yeah.
And then they get back together, like Garrett and Wellesley, and her showcase. Like, it was really good, but definitely the Allie and Dean backstory, because I was shook. I knew that they were together. It was very obvious to me when she first had lied about going on the bus, but to see how much it was, I was like, damn, okay.
Oh, and I feel so bad in that last episode, because you realize that when he called and then she saw Hunter, that she thought he was calling to tell her he had completed the assignment, and he hadn't. So she went and completed the assignment. I was like, oh no. I felt so bad. But
so close.
Yeah. I think my close second is the episode with the full drunk Shakespeare scene.
That one was good.
It's so good. It's so good. I know we're talking about how much we loved it, though.
How did you feel about the casting?
I loved the casting personally. I think, I don't know. So some people have complained about other characters who I didn't get to know as well in the deal, like from other books, which I didn't get to know as well. But especially Wellesley, Allie, Garrett, and Dean.
Oh, yeah.
Obsessed.
I loved them. I loved them a lot. I also mentioned, like, I love Tucker. But yeah, Dean, Allie, Wellesley, Garrett, I think they were all perfectly cast. I think they did a great job. Josh Houston, who plays Justin. I know a lot of people fan cast him to play Xaden, but after watching Off Campus, I don't really know how I would feel about him being Xaden.
I've said for a while I don't think he's actually tall enough to play Xaden, and I maintain that even more after Off Campus.
Yeah, I think like he could potentially be a good Bodhi. I think it'd be really awkward because they keep asking him about Fourth Wing.
I know.
And I'm like, imagine if he doesn't get it, or if he ends up being someone else. Like, what if he ends up being like Dean or Dane or something? But
you know what, though? I know that he keeps getting asked, and that might be awkward, but he also fans the Flames because they were asking like everybody like what's their favorite book or a book they read recently, and he was like, "Oh, anybody heard of Fourth Wing?" And I was like,
"Come on, dude!
Asking for this."
Everybody, he's asking for it. But I will say, like, unrelated to his acting and Off Campus, just seeing him in Off Campus, I was like, to me at least, he's not Xaden. I probably should watch other films and shows that he's in just to see like his full range of acting. But from the performance that I saw, I was like, nah. Not my MMC. He is very attractive, and I still think like his face card. His face card does match, but I'm like, he's not my wing leader though.
Yeah, I will say though, in a lot of the press tour stuff I watched for this, every time people were asking about like, oh, who's the most charming or flirty or any of that, it was always him. They were like, oh, he's so charming, he can sweep anybody off their feet. So I was like, well, I think he does have that. I think it was maybe just the character he was playing. But again, Xaden, he's supposed to be so tall, and Josh Houston is just not tall. He's like 5'10".
Yeah, he's like 5'10", and Xaden's canonically 6'4", which I know Hollywood can do their magic, but...
Yeah, I don't know, though. But I think he would be a great Bodhi, personally. But listen, I just want them to pick people who are good actors and have good chemistry, and I can overlook the other stuff.
Yeah, the chemistry
bad chemistry,
is huge.
That just, you can't fix that.
Which is why I was more invested in the Allie and Dean storyline, because their chemistry was on fire. It was so good.
It was so good. It was so good. And they're so funny. Like I don't know if you've watched any of the press tour stuff because you're trying to avoid spoilers, but they are so funny. They are so, so, so funny. There's actually some tea that's like completely me guessing of what was going on behind the scenes that I'm not even going to say on the podcast because I don't want to spread rumors, but I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay. Sounds good.
But I will say, Belmont Cameli, he's so beautiful. He's so, so, so beautiful. And I want to mention this. Such a good person. When he was really young, I think he was like 18 or 19 years old, he voluntarily offered a kidney to a friend who was sick.
I saw that.
And he wasn't a match, so he became part of a donor chain and gave it to a stranger so that his friend could get a kidney and survive. And I was like, oh my God, I love you even more now.
Sweet. Like, that's like the ultimate sacrifice. That's just so selfless.
It is. And I was so impressed by it. And he is also the main character from a Sarah Dessen movie that I love.
Oh.
So not the main character. That's wrong. He's the male main character. Like he's the love interest in a Sarah Dessen novel called Along for the Ride.
Along for the Ride. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
I'll check it out.
But it's definitely like you either appreciate it because you loved the book or you don't. But he was great in it. He's great in it.
Good to know.
But yeah, he's a cutie patootie. He's too young for me, but he's gorgeous and a good person. So I just want people to know that.
Good. So has Dean changed our feelings on blonde MMCs?
I mean, listen, I've had a few that I'm like, okay, Jax specifically in Once Upon a Broken Heart is blonde MMC, and I don't have very many of them.
I have never fully subscribed to MMCs have to be dark-haired to be handsome, but I also grew up being obsessed with Peeta Mellark and Jace Wayland from City of Bones. So, like, I've always enjoyed my blonde men, and also like Finnick Odair. He was like sandy blonde. Yeah. But then we also have like Liam from Fourth Wing. Rowan Whitethorn has silver hair. He's from Throne of Glass. Like, I've never subscribed to the blonde hate. I've always crushed on blonde guys, and I don't know if maybe just blonde was always my type growing up. I don't know, but Yeah, Dean can get it, but
Dean can get it.
Dean can get it. And as I was watching, I was like, that's like literally the blonde looks good on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, I'm much more of like a Garrett type girly than I am a Dean girly. But Dean in the show, if I was Allie, I would have been all over that man.
Yeah, no, I same. He'd be like, no, I want to be with you. I don't want to fuck other people. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, like I'm good
All
with
right.
that.
That's fine.
Allie's got issues. She's working through some things. But,
so, the $1 million question, did you prefer the book or the show?
this is going to be controversial for some people, but I personally really preferred the show.
I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I basically gave away my answer in the beginning by saying
Yeah.
that finishing the deal, I wasn't eager to read the rest of the series. And I had even had that in my review, like, it was okay. Like, I enjoyed parts, but I don't really feel like I need to read more. But for the show, I think they did a better job.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because they put in all the other storylines. Like, now I'm actually feeling a desire to read the other books now that I know the characters.
If you read the score, let me know because then I can talk to you about that. Halloween scene.
I'll probably, I mean, it won't be anytime soon because I'm currently reading like 3 books, but maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks I can start the score.
Yeah, I definitely preferred the show. There were certain things for the deal, and I know there's people who love the series and that like they love it. But for me personally, when I read it, there were things about a lot of the male characters, especially Garrett, that just personally rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I couldn't stand the fact that he referred to Wellesley's boobs as stripper tits. That just gave me the ick immediately, and it just kind of never went away. And I couldn't help that. Like, it just bothered me the whole book.
And the persistence of, no, you are my tutor. Like, you have no choice.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're on the same page on that. I know some people still prefer the books because that was like the OG, and I totally get that. But for me, I loved the show so much. I had so much fun watching the show, and I just liked Garrett more. I think I liked Wellesley mostly the same amount. I think she was great in the book and great in the show. But Garrett, I think, had a better character arc in the show. Personally.
It's always a nice treat when an adaptation can elevate the story. And I think it did a good job. I think it did a good job there.
And I mean, I also have to remember, I think this book was written 11 years ago. And so there's certain things that are just kind of a product of their time. It came out before He Did Rivalry did.
Well, yeah.
And so some things are just kind of a product of their time. There were things that was more normal. And there was just a lot of like frat boy behavior in the books that kind of bothered me. Again, stripper tits, did not like that. Yeah. That just kind of bothered me, but I think that was more normal of the time. But it just, I don't know. I'm almost 40 and it was just rubbing me the wrong way. I don't know what to say. All right. This is our official trigger warning for the essay storyline. Please use the timestamps in our show notes to jump ahead if needed. Also, though, after this, we're just jumping straight into the outro, so you might want to skip ahead to the blooper. But how did you feel about how they handled the essay storyline with Wellesley in the show?
I think they did a great job, especially with them showing her PTSD and her being triggered by him. Like, obviously, they didn't go into as much the details with her family, how didn't her dad like go to prison or like he got arrested or something for
I think he might have gotten arrested. He definitely didn't go to prison.
Did it go to prison? Okay. Yeah. But like he had like beat someone because of it. So we didn't go as much into that. But I thought the way they handled it was pretty tasteful. And they did a good job of her like being triggered.
Yeah. I think it's an important thing to talk about, and it opens up good conversations. And I also really enjoyed the fact that they focused on her recovery and therapy and the things that would trigger her and like the parts that were upsetting for her and the parts that she was still working through instead of the actual event. I was really genuinely afraid of is that they were going to show the assault unnecessarily. And don't get me wrong, like I think there are storylines where there are times and places to like work through that stuff sometimes probably. But for me personally, seeing how she was dealing with it and how she had dealt with it and her triggers, I thought that they did it so well. Her mental health struggles with it. I thought that they handled it very delicately, and I really appreciated how they did that. And the conversation with her mom
Oh
Chef's kiss.
my God. That was so good.
I cried.
It
I
was
was
very
like,
good.
I feel like that it almost felt like she was having a conversation with a therapist when she was like, well, what did you do wrong? You're feeling guilty. What did you do wrong?
You didn't do anything wrong. You just went to a party. Like, that's what you did. And I'm like, that's so true, because a lot of people tend to blame themselves when bad things happen to them. And it's like, well, actually, you're not the one that made the decision to do this to a person. Like, you consented to showing up to a party, and that's what happened. And that was an incredible conversation.
It was incredible. It was incredibly acted, start to finish, everything about it. And I just feel like I think there's probably a lot of people out here who need a mom like Wellesley's mom. It was just so great. And I really appreciate how they handled that storyline. I thought they did it delicately and really opening a space to open more conversations around it, which I really appreciated.
Yeah. And even just how careful Garrett was with making sure she was comfortable with everything. And that is just really key. So.
Oh, this is reminding me. I forgot to have a conversation about one of the scenes I wanted to talk about.
Well, go ahead and talk about it.
So you had mentioned too, like the scene where Garrett's telling her like, oh, I'm not going to see you until you want me to see you. Like, just because like that's potentially an inevitability in this scenario you've requested. Like, I'm not going to look at you until you want me to. The consent conversation with Dean in the gym. He tells Garrett that in order for there to be consent, there has to be trust. And I was like, this is such an important conversation that needs to be happening in this show. And the fact that it's with Dean the Playboy is the one telling him you can't have consent without trust, and that he's the one saying this, the frattiest of frat boys. And I'm like, yes, please and thank you. And it's happening in a gym, which is practically a locker room.
This is the kind of locker room talk that we do support and want. And
the idea that like locker room talk isn't always has to be portrayed in this like stereotypical frat boy way, and that these conversations that should be happening between men should be more open and vulnerable, and conversations about how do I approach this scenario? How do I make sure somebody is comfortable and safe instead of how do I talk her into it? Thank you so much for having this conversation the way that they did, with the characters that they did and the location that they did. It was perfect.
It was great. It was really great.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we jump out?
No, but I mean, I haven't even rewatched the show yet, and I haven't read the score, so now I'm having an itch to do so.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy rewatching the show, and if you read the score, let me know.
I will.
Okay.
There's too many ads. I'm like, I'm not paying Amazon more money.
I did check today, and somehow, for some reason, Spotify added the score back to its audiobook list. I don't know why, but all of a sudden it's back. So I can go finish it, but I just noticed that today, and I don't know why they took it away from me when they did. They were just like, this title's no longer available, and then suddenly it is.
That's weird.
Don't know what's going on. All right. This is where we leave you today, Basic Book Besties. Thank you so much for listening. Please leave us a review and join us next week.
If you need more bookish content, we have 4 ongoing seasons. You're currently listening to our season 1 Book Besties chats featuring spice ratings, our thoughts on recent adaptations, discussions on our current reads, and more. We also have our crash course season for the Maasverse, Fourth Wing deep dive topics, and fun author interviews. Our Maasverse season 2 content releases weekly on Thursdays, while our other seasons release episodes sporadically on Tuesdays.
You can check out our website, basicandbookishpod.com, for info about our contact form, upcoming seasons, which authors we have scheduled next, events we're attending, and more. We've linked that down in the show notes.
You can join us over on Patreon, where you can access all of our episodes ad-free, 3 days early, and in full video, plus extras like exclusive book club access, shoutouts on the show, PDF annotations, and more. You'll find our Patreon link in the show notes, along with all the ways you can support the podcast.
Don't forget to stay in the loop by following us on social media at Basic and Bookish Pod, and joining us on our Discord chat. Who knows, you might just meet your next book bestie there.
Until next time, reach out on Discord to let us know if you have watched Off Campus and what your favorite episode was. See you there.